next speaker is Professor Taisch from the Politecnico of Milan, where he teaches advanced in sustainable manufacturing and operations management. I invited him, I mean, he's a friend of mine, by the way, but I invited him for the role that he has by the European Commission, where since more or less 15 years, he was engaged in the analysis and the technological trends, and setting up technological roadmaps and technology foresight and on predictive system for the European Commission. So if, I mean, we are talking about this story of Industry 4.0, he's the right person to tell us and to inform us what the intelligent factory is about. So, Marco, please.
Good morning, everybody. I think I'm the last speaker before lunch, so I'll try to be on time, not to take you too much time. Thanks for the invitation. I would like to talk about factory. Here in the audience there are a lot of product designer, and the people like me, when the industrial engineers, when we have to produce what you design, is always your discussion, right? Because we always ask you to design things which can be produced. But this is not what I'm going to discuss today. What I'm like to, and I'm happy that the speaker who was before me, he spoke about dreams and make things dreaming. I was 25 years ago, I was just a student in my university, and my professor was talking to me about how the factory of the future would have looked like, and that was a time where topic like computer integrated manufacturing was very up to date as a brand, but today we are talking about Industry 4.0. Is there anything changes? Is this a revolution, as a fourth industrial revolution, as some people is going to call? I don't really know if we are under a revolution. What I really know is that what we are facing today and what the factory is facing today is definitely a huge issue. A lot of technologies are coming to a mature phase altogether. I'm talking about IoT, I'm talking about cloud computing, I'm talking about big data. And the people in the factory is a little bit concerned because they don't know how to do it. They don't know how to exploit all the potential issues, all the potential energy which is in these technologies. So we are talking today about intelligent factory, but I think it's important to understand what is the role, what is the advantage for this factory, and what could be the benefit in order to create added value to our factory and to our nation. So that's what I'm going to discuss. But I like to take a little bit open our mind, open our eyes. We are normally tend to, as an engineer, to look at the detail, and most of the time we forget the big picture. And I think this is gone. If we forget the big picture, if we don't understand where and why we are doing things and what is the framework in which we are working, we are a little bit lost, and we are not able to get all the benefit we can get. That's why I always like to say, and to my students, and when I give speech, what is the environment in we are moving today, and a lot of stuffs are happening. Demographic changes, people are aging, the population is aging. The population in Europe is not growing anymore. We have immigration. But there are other continents like Africa which are growing. Africa will have more graduates, people in 2050 than in Europe. Africa is or will become an important part in our business community, and we need to understand this, and we need to prepare for this. Scarce natural resources. The previous speech was talking about circular economy, and this is it's there, and we need to deal with this more and more than in the past. Climate changes. We know you know what I'm talking about. The issue with the atmosphere, the pollution, and so on and so forth, and urbanization of the population. This is affecting a lot of the planning of factories. The cost of the labor and the wages, the salary in China is growing up. It went for 50 to $1 to 4.5 US dollar. This is gross salary. And if you compare this, it makes a lot of factories not any more efficient to be produced in China. And in fact, a lot of companies are moving to other countries over there, like Indonesia or Myanmar or Vietnam, and some companies are moving back. This is what we call reshoring. And this is happening also thanks to the Industry 4.0. With Industry 4.0, we are able to make our competitiveness higher than in the past. And this is an enabler for having our company and our factory to reshore to Europe. But also we need to understand what we need to produce. You know, you are an expert in this. I don't need to discuss this with you, but again, just to recap, products will become smart and smart with a lot of technologies and a lot of IT embedded in the product. They will be coming connected. You know, everybody's talking about autonomous car. But we should also think about, other environment like our kitchen, where all our white goods will be connected and connected among ourselves. Personalization, this is very important. Today, customers want to have exactly the right product with all the features in a very short time. And this is it's what I call the Amazon effect. You go to Amazon, you buy a book or any other goods, and you want to have it in 24 hours, as you like, in your house. What is the expectation now that customer has? Is that I would like to buy any type of product, even a car, and get it in 24 hours as I want it. So the Amazon is putting a lot of challenges in other markets because the customer is getting used to get any product in 24 hours everywhere in the world. Okay, and this is putting a lot of pressure on revising our supply chain and the factory and how factories are done. Green, of course, we already discussed, and a new material. Okay, let me go back once. This is a survey which was done a few years ago. They asked to adult customer in Europe, 2000, and they ask whether they're going to consider green product when they do their buying process. And you see in this slides that the number of customers which are green oriented is growing. I'm sure that if you do this survey now, instead of having 34% of people, this will be about 45-50%. And this is growing, and we need to consider this in designing the product, but also in the manufacturing. And then the other strong trends which is happening and which is affecting the way we design product and we design our factories, also what we call the servitization. And you know what I'm referring to, the fact that if you look at this, we are now what we call the fourth generation of servitization. Instead of designing the product first and creating services around the product, now we have to design first the service, and then the product, the physical product, just become an enabler, a platform to deliver the service. And this example of turbines which are now designed in such a way that companies, the producer of these turbines, is not designing or selling the turbine anymore. You sell a service because the airplane company and it's buying, selling hours, and the provider of the turbine has to deliver a service through a service level agreement. In 2008, it happens a very important crisis, the financial crisis. We suffer it. What I'm really happy to see is now in many of the political agenda, Germany, Italy, France, US, China, manufacturing is becoming as in the high level of attention. Our government, the Italian government, just on the 21st of September released our national plan. Yesterday, on Saturday, this was approved by our government, and this will be launched next year. So it puts back manufacturing to the core of the economy of the country, and this is for all of us, myself and you included. I think it's going to be a lot of interesting period in the next years. Italy, of course, is going down in terms of added value created to manufacturing. There are other countries which are coming up, as you see, India or Korea, and also some newcomers. And this slides here shows you the share of the national GDP related to manufacturing. If you look at these slides, someone used to tell me, okay, but manufacturing is only 15% for Italy, or for Spain 30%, Germany only 22%. I say yes, but we need to understand. You remember I talked about servitization. We need to understand and look at this piece of information. Otherwise, the big picture that we see is the wrong one. It's correct, 15% is manufacturing as a sector, but we should not forget that between a factor of 2 and 2.5 of added value created is coming from services which are related to manufacturing, for example, maintenance or logistics. So if you look at this number and you calculate this number for Italy, it means that almost 50% of the national GDP is coming from the manufacturing sector. That's why we should take care about manufacturing. But again, putting together the real production of a real physical product with the services which are connected to the real physical product. We have a problem here in Italy. Productivity of the labor is going down. Other countries are, let's say, much more productive from this perspective. And then the question is, will being Industry 4.0 a way to become, again, more productive than we are? I hope so. This is the challenge we're going to face in the next few years. Also related to the fact that investment is going down. You see here that Germany is investing now more than they did after the financial crisis. France is more or less the same. Italy is still going down. But we claim that with the new national industrial plan, the investment will increase. So the estimation we did is that from 70 billion euros of investment in assets, we will go in the next couple of years to 80 billion euros in investment. And this is a good news for all the technology providers, hardware provider and software providers. But people always talk about technology and software, hardware, investments, and we sometimes tend to forget the picture. This is a survey which was done a few years ago by Deloitte, and they asked to 500 CEOs all over the world to rank all the drivers they think are important for creating competitiveness of their companies. So you see the list of the 12 drivers which were asked to be relevant for them. And you see, this is the result. The result is that talent-driven innovation is still, as it was 3 years ago, the first important driver. So people. So manufacturing company, CEOs of manufacturing company still thinks that the talent-driven innovation is the most important drivers they have. And in this conference, we are talking about innovation, of course. It's not only product innovation, it's also innovation in the where you make business, in the factory. But this is, I think, is a very important use. So you see, cost is not relevant. Is relevant, is number 3, but it's people are more relevant. And this, I think, is very important. So we need to talk about technology from one side, but we should never forget about the people and how to provide the right innovation using people and using technology at the same time. And if I compare, and this is the global index, you see here in the 2016, these you see on the left side, those are the countries, the position of the countries according to the drivers you have seen in the past. Of course, it's a mix of all the drivers. China is considered the most competitive because of the labor cost, very low. But if you look at other drivers, Europe, for example, Italy and Germany are much more competitive if you look at just the talent-driven innovation. Of course, then we are not competitive for other reasons. So the overall position we have is that we are the 28th position now, and what is not the nice or good news is that we are expected to go even worse. But that's why I think we should work. And you see all the other countries, and I know here there's a lot of people from other countries. You can see the position of your countries here. What is Industry 4.0, or supposed to be Industry 4.0? How this is related to the topic of this conference and the topic of designing new product, and why we call it Industry 4.0. That's, I think it's important. Many people ask why 4. Okay, we used to talk about Web 2.0. And then why we are already talking about 4. 4.0 is coming because this is considered to be the fourth industrial revolution. The first one was when we start to use the water and the steam as a source of energy. The second one is when we start to use electricity as the source of energy, and the third one is considered when we first install the first PLC controlling a machine tool in the factory. These three revolutions were not only a technological revolution. The factory was always changing in the way it was designed. When we talk about the second industrial revolution, we always talk about mass production. Some people used to remember what happened to, or what Mr. Ford, Henry Ford, used to say, that he was able to provide a car of any color but black, right? To assess the fact that was a mass production. The fourth industrial revolution is what we are what is happening today, and what is happening is the fact that we have a new concept of a factory. The factory is considered to be more and more a cyber physical system. It means that we have the physical side, the physical world, the real factory with the real machines, with real equipments, with real people producing real jobs. But more and more we will have what we call the digital avatar, the digital twin, full 100% digital representation of the real world. This is the goal, this is the aim, this is the dream. We are not there yet. There are a lot of IT technology which will help us, and simulation is part of it. Internet of Things is part of it. And once we will be able to get this two worlds fully connected and fully aligned in real time, my dream is that I have a machine in a layout and I move the machine 3 meters, and then the model of the factory will automatically align without having me to open the file and take and drag and drop the machine by 3 meters. This has to happen in a fully automated way. This is the dream, and this is, when we get this, we will have what we call the cyber physical system, which of course you can imagine allow a lot of potential benefit. In order to do that, we need a lot of IT technologies. Here is a list of some of them. Of course, sensors are very important because help us to collect the data, but sensors need to be connected. That's why Internet of Things. We need cloud computing somewhere to store all the data we collect, but then we need to analyze all the data, which is what we call the big data. And of course, human-machine interfaces, which is not a new technology, has to evolve to provide an interesting and better environment. And here, just to give you an idea of the complexity, this is why I used to call it the revolution of the revolution. It's a lot of stuff all together. It's not only one innovation like it was for water or from electricity. It's much more complex, and this is what is happening. So here you see a number of technologies which need to be addressed in order to allow us to talk about the fourth industrial revolution. And here you see, I'm sorry, it's a little bit in English and in Italian, the concept of what we call the intelligent factory or the 4.0 factory. So you see that it's a factory which is the physical part and the cyber part all together and fully interconnected. This factory is going to be smart, as the products are going to be smart. But we should not forget that there is a third pillar in this industrial revolution, which is the fact that new business models will be allowed, and also this business model will be important to be considered. Another small topic which I think is important is the fact that people talk about Internet of Things. I think this is already, I would say, an old name and not comprehensive. We should elaborate more on this concept. Processes will be connected, services will be connected, people will be connected. This is why I prefer, to see that all this, it's not, Cisco call it the Internet of Everything, right? This is the way we as a designer of product and factory should think the future. And another possible breaks of this future is how IT system will evolve. We are used to have this platform here, this device, and we are used to download from the store apps and configure these devices according to our needs, right? So you should think that in the future, workers in the factory will download apps from, we call it a manufacturing app store, just to give him a name, to configure their own local position in their local factory. So it's not anymore that someone comes and give you a full holistic IT systems. The IT system will be more and more configured on demand by the worker, thanks to solutions or approach which we are already used to in the consumer environment, and this will go, of course, to the business environment. Cognitive automation. This is also something we need to get used to. Cognitive automation means that instead of having robots more and more efficient, we will provide more information, more data to the workers. You see this guy on the bottom, on the left, he has a notepad like this, and he's getting real-time information on what he has to do. This guys became 26% more productive than he was before, and so the company decided not to use a robot instead of a person. The person was there and kept his job. Again, from industrial automation to cognitive automation. Let me skip this. Is there any drawback in this for industrial revolution? Yes, there are some issues that we need to address. First is cybersecurity. In 2014, 26% of cyber attacks all over the world were to industry, not to banks, not to finance, not to governance website, to industrial system. Okay, so factories are going to be connected, but on the other side, we need to protect from cyber attack. That's the first problem. Of course, this is going to create revenues. Yes, this is what Roland Berger is estimating to be the return on capital invested. You see that the expectation is very high. My time is already over, so I let you the slide to go through, and I think the presentation will be made available. But the other questions I always been asked is this revolution will kill jobs and create more unemployment, or this will have a positive impact on employment? I think it will. The net will be that we are going to create more jobs. for this. For sure, countries, developing countries like Europe, US, will become more productive. And in this way, we are able to attract or reshore companies, and this will create more jobs. Of course, skills will change, and we need to adapt to these changes. The problem is with the companies. Still, they are not aware of what Industry 4.0 is. 38% of the company we interviewed last year were not aware of this topic. So this is it's a problem, and I think this is very important or interesting for many of you. We asked them what kind of IT tool, you see, from computer-aided design to all the other they were using, and you see here the response. So many companies, I would say, are still 3.0, right? And they need, or they have a long journey towards 4.0. So that's an issue we need to consider in our analysis. The last one is the skills, and then I just leave it with something to smile. People has to adapt, and they have to change the way they are working. You remember what I said about the aging of the population? Let's see what I mean for this. Can you have the video to start, please? Hello? In the back? Okay, I have. Okay, this is a family, a daughter, and is the birthday of the father. You see, it's 65, 70 years old father, and see what he's doing. He has an iPad, which was the present, the gift the daughter gave to him, but he doesn't know how to use it, right? And the only way he can use a tablet is to cut and prepare food. And of course, so he's a clean man, and he's washing his iPad in the dishwasher, and of course, she is surprised the way he's using this iPad, okay? But now look at, okay, can you have the video to start this? Yes. This is a 1-year-old child. And with the same tool, with the same tablet the old guy was using. And she's doing, how she is interacting. You see, she's trying to squeeze, because she's native. She was born with an iPad in her hand, almost, right? And look, this is incredible. Look, she wants to, I can change the picture, and she's getting disappointed because she can't do it, and she thinks this is useless. It's not working. Have you ever seen a piece of paper on your video or your screen? No. Okay. This is incredible. Look, she wants to switch off the picture. She wants to switch. It's not working. Ooh, maybe it's my finger which is not working. Look at what she's doing. She's testing her own finger. This is incredible. Okay, what is the message here? This video was taken already 4 years ago. Okay, so this lady now is 5 years old. In 15 years, this lady will be working in a factory or in an office, in a company, together with the old man. You have to face a challenge here, because, we cannot throw away all the experience the guy has, the old man has, but we need to make sure that we are able to have different generations working together in the same environment. And I think that Industry 4.0 is not only a technological revolution, it's also a cultural and social revolution. I think we need to put effort on this in order to make it happen in the best way for us. Thank you very much.